Okay. Hi friends. Guess what time I woke up today? 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I finished editing and uploading the video really late last night or really early this morning, depending on what kind of person you are. I think I finally finished it around 4 in the morning. If you haven't seen that video yet, I will link it up here. I'm following an algorithm for my uploads. For Mondays, the optimal time is around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It was already 4 a.m. and I still hadn't chilled out or decompressed after all that work, so I just stayed awake until 7 in the morning. It's not like I've been oversleeping, it's just that my whole sleep schedule is completely thrown off right now. Anyway, long story short, I had to physically kick myself out of bed. Tried talking myself out of filming several times already, but no, I'm here. We're sitting here, we are going to film, and we're not gonna be self-conscious about it. We are just gonna do it, and we're gonna feel good about ourselves afterwards. If you haven't already guessed, this is a get ready with me. Let's get ready to overshare. Let's get started. It's really crummy because I even had the whole day to myself. Andrew was at work and he just came home. I really should have taken advantage of the time that I had alone in the house today, and instead I just slept right through it. Unemployment has really taken a toll on my productivity.
Raid went well.
Yeah?
Yeah, apparently I'm a troll.
Ooh, that's some D&D shit.
It's fantasy universe.
Oh, awesome.
Game of Thrones without being Game of Thrones.
Is this Henry?
Henry V.
Henry V. Brilliant timing as always. That really derailed me. Not quite sure what stage I am in the 5 stages of unemployment, but it's somewhere close to denial. Like, it's March. What am I doing with my year? 2020 was supposed to be a good year. It's been increasingly difficult to really throw myself into this full time when I'm not seeing returns. I don't have enough hours viewed to be an AdSense partner yet. So it just feels like I'm throwing all of my time and energy and effort into this black hole. I am seeing some growth. It is slow and it is small. It's nearly impossible for me to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can't appreciate the success I've had on this platform that isn't attached to viewership and the numbers and my analytics. It's as if my success is minimized purely based on how I'm received. It feels like I'm just shouting into a void. Sometimes I wonder, you know, do I have egg on my face? Is it delusional to think that I could make this into a career? I know it takes time to grow an audience. I'm there with you, I hear you. Also, I do kind of wish I could just get a break, you know? I'm getting trapped in this cycle of thought. The first thought is I want a modicum of independence in my life. Second thought is you need money to have autonomy over your own life. The third thought is I don't have any money, i.e. I have to remain dependent on other people's generosity. Fourth thought is then get a job, make some money. Fifth thought is in order to make enough money to be independent, you need to work full-time, probably more than one job. So then my sixth thought is, well then I have to give up YouTube. The seventh thought is, no, just buckle down, do the work. You'll see the growth. Just keep your head down, utilize this time you have now to build your audience, and you might have a shot at this. Because if you have a job, you don't get a shot at doing this full-time as a job. So thought 8 is plowing through, working and creating as much as I can. The ninth thought goes, it's really hard to create content when you're stuck in a place where you don't have any privacy and you cannot be yourself. So then the 10th thought is, I really wish I could be independent, and thus the cycle continues. Gosh, that was really hard to explain, but this is where my brain's been for the last 3 months. I can feel my resolve slipping slowly down the drain. I feel like I'm trapped in this cycle and I feel like there's no way to get out of it. There's no end. And I could get out of it any time if I wanted to. I would just have to take a step back from this goal of trying to make YouTube a viable source of income, which really has been the goal since I started this channel since day one. It always sounds so irresponsible when I try and explain that to people. Like, why aren't you working right now? Why aren't you being a contributing member of society? And it makes me feel really stupid for wanting to put everything I have into this channel when I clearly don't have something to show for it. I don't have the numbers. I don't have the monetization. So with that, how do I convince people that I feel like this is the right choice, that I'm making a good decision? Maybe I'm not. Maybe this is futile. Maybe I'm being incredibly irresponsible responsible. This sounds so cliche, maybe I should just give up. If I want independence, if I want to have control over my life again, if I want to have a place to call my own, if I want to feel like a freaking adult for once in my life, the responsible thing to do would be to stop all this nonsense and just go find a full-time job and make enough money to survive and make ends meet. I don't know. That seems so defeatist of me. It makes me feel like I didn't accomplish anything then. If I just gave up now, then what would I have accomplished? I know it's not necessarily a failure if I stop making videos tomorrow. The content that I've created, the videos that I already have up, I'm proud of them. I should be able to see that success isn't just numbers, it's not just analytics, it's growth in myself as a person. So I'm trying really hard to be proud of what I've created without getting bogged down by the lack of results on paper. I always think right before I start filming and get ready with me that I'm going to be concise, that I'm going to get all my thoughts out in a way that people will understand, and then every time I sit down and turn on the camera, my brain just turns to mush. That's the most frustrating thing about filming, is that your vocabulary just gets cut in half. You can't think of words, you start to panic, and then you're sitting there editing and you are looking at yourself saying, "It's this word, say it. Say the word." I don't know if creators can relate, but that is the most frustrating part for me. But where I always end back up is I want to do this, which means I just have to get my ass out of bed, turn on the camera, and film. Of course, whenever I'm at a loss for content, you know what I do. I film and get ready with me. I figured I'd just brainstorm in front of the camera instead of behind the camera. I might as well just put these thoughts out there while I'm putting on makeup, because that's what I do. I'm a makeup channel. I don't like following trends. Maybe I should though, you know? Maybe I should just do a palette bingo, or now suddenly I can't think of any makeup video trends. You know, blank picks my makeup. I don't care. Those are not the videos that I like to watch. And so I need to think about the videos that I do like to watch. That's harder. It's almost as if it's not the concepts themselves that I gravitate to, it's the creators that I gravitate to. There are a handful of creators that I will watch no matter what they're putting out. That's not the case for everybody. I have friends telling me, you should try and integrate singing and musical theater into your makeup videos. There are creators on this platform that are trying to integrate their hobbies and interests into their makeup videos, but I always find that a little bit cheesy. I don't know how to explain it. You know, those people who talk about murderers and ghost stories while they put on their makeup. It's like, well, something about that just doesn't interest me in any way, shape, or form. For some reason, it just feels kind of like a cop-out in a way. I don't know why. At that point, you're just reading the news and applying makeup. You didn't subscribe to me because I'm a singer. You didn't subscribe to me because I'm an actor. You subscribed to me because I do makeup and something about me appeals to you. I'm explaining myself really poorly. I'm not trying to dunk on those people that make that kind of content. I understand people have hobbies and they want to integrate it into makeup. It's just for me that those two subjects don't mesh. They're not knitting together. Just as an example here, as much as I love Robert Welch for his educational spin on makeup videos, I'm not a fan of his ghost stories and makeup. In those videos, he shares other people's spooky stories that they send into him and he reads them while putting on some spooky makeup. Nothing that is really related to the stories per se. Like, he's not turning himself into the ghost that haunted this person in their house. He's just putting on some sort of black smoky eye. The video just seemed disjointed. He was reading the stories, he was talking about the stories, but then the makeup had nothing to do with the stories. He was just reading them as he was applying makeup. There just seems to be a disconnect there for me. And that's just my personal preference. Other people love that shit. That's kind of the reason I don't really feel like making that kind of video. I don't want to bother you with my singing. Half of my audience probably doesn't give a shit about fucking Heather's the musical. What I did enjoy making, however, is taking you backstage with me, because I felt like that was in some way related to makeup. I was showing you some insight into my everyday life while still maintaining a connection to the makeup world. But then that video kind of bombed, so I don't know. I'm constantly judging myself based on what other people think or don't think at all, you know? Anyway, so where was I? Right, brainstorming content 20 minutes later. So I'm trying to think of interesting ideas. I love doing the palette potential series. I know that if I do it all the time, it's gonna get really old, but if I'm buying a new palette, it seems kind of of stupid not to use that palette for a palette potential series and glean the most content out of that palette that I can get. I need to utilize that product as much as humanly possible before people get bored. I tried to go through every single palette that I already owned first before buying new things. That didn't really work out that way. There are lots of palettes out there that really interested me that I couldn't pass up on, that were unique and special to my collection. So I started incorporating new palettes into the series very quickly, but there is still one palette that I have not cracked into that I have been avoiding. Recently, there's been a lot of drama and controversy around this palette, so I don't know, maybe it's the right time to bring it back. However, part of the drama and controversy was that this palette was reformulated. The version that I have is no longer in circulation, which means doing a video on that palette would be totally redundant for anyone who is looking to purchase it. However, the other thought I had was that maybe I could buy the newest iteration and create an entire series of palette potential with a side-by-side comparison. I really want to know your feedback on that idea. Okay, what are we doing? I need to get my shit together. But first, highlight. I guess what I want to know from you then is, what do you like to watch? What are the videos and the creators that you gravitate toward? What piques your interest? What makes you click? Is it a thumbnail? Is it a title? Is it a concept? I am very curious to know what my audience enjoys watching. Okay, I'm gonna go put on some brows and just recenter a little bit and try and compose my thoughts. I guess let's do some eyeshadow maybe? I'm basically just doing the same face I did in the last video. I wanted to try out the ink crayon again because the last time I tried it, I wasn't a fan of the lip liner that I paired with it, and also I was wearing a plumping gloss which might have interfered with the formula. I'm also gonna film a product empties video after this, so hopefully that'll come out soon. Let's just use this because it's here. This is the Colourpop Going Coconuts palette. It is splendid. However, don't drop it because I think it was actually here before the cocoa. It was this beautiful brown metallic. These pans are just held in by magnets. They don't have any glue on the underside, so when it fell, everything kind of got jostled around and some of them fell out. I tried putting this one back in and then it just spontaneously combusted onto my lap. Unfortunately, I never even got to use that shade, but the rest of the palette's still intact. Fingers crossed it stays that way. I'm just gonna put on some eyeshadow. I don't really feel like doing anything fancy. Also, I know I talked about this previously in another video. January was particularly stressful for me because I was in the middle of callbacks for this part that I really, really wanted. It's been a dream role of mine for, well, ever since I've been doing this. If you haven't guessed by my lack of enthusiasm right now, I didn't book it. And it was a little devastating. I know that we should be more detached from those kinds of rejections because it happens 99.9% of the time. So usually I can handle it a little better. However, the older I get, the harder it gets to face that amount of rejection. If you aren't aware and if you aren't an actor, most of the time, on average, you book about 0.1% of the jobs that you audition for, which of course you don't really see as much as you see other people's successes, but I am usually better at just getting over it, moving on. You know, you can be sad for a little while, but then eventually you have to let it release you. Otherwise, every rejection will just devastate you. As of right now, I don't have any shows lined up for the entire year. That's a hard thing to look down the barrel of. This last rejection was hard in particular because it was a company that is comprised of my very, very best friends. I've worked with them on other shows as an actor, as a makeup artist. I've watched them build this company up from its infancy. The balance has always been really great, but that also means that the balance was also in my favor, and I have to keep that in mind as they grow and as they move forward as a company. So when they announced this show, I almost lost my shit. It's a role that I've wanted to play since I discovered musical theater. They know how important this show is to me. It just added so much pressure from both sides, knowing that it was my friends on the other side of the table and it was my dream role. And to add to that, I had lost that role a couple years back with a different company, which devastated me the first time. So I was not ready for the rejection the second time. I thought to myself, I can't possibly lose this role a second time in my life. Part of me knows that nothing is predetermined, the universe is random, you are not deserving of anything. On the other side of it, I've always selfishly believed that I was meant to play this part. It's really hard to hear everyone around you saying, oh, it's in the bag, like you're going to be playing this part, I can't wait to see you play this part, and saying like, you have to get it has to be you. It's really hard to listen to all of that over and over again and keep a semblance of reality, especially when the rejection letter does show up. How do you reconcile with that? How do you reconcile with all the people who told you that it was a sure thing, that it was guaranteed, that it should be you up there? How do you reconcile with that once they've offered it to somebody else? I'm having a really hard time with that right now. To add insult to injury, they didn't cast me in the show at all. And that could have been because I wasn't sure if I wanted to take ensemble, if I wasn't offered the lead. Part of me thought it would be too heartbreaking to be in the show if I wasn't. But as the weeks went on and as I got more and more anxious to hear back, I started thinking, well, I'll take anything at this point, you know? So it's just hard to come to terms with the fact that I'm gonna have to sit that one out entirely. Oh, like I still get teary-eyed thinking about it. I ain't getting any younger. I don't know if I'll ever play that part now. Lots of actors don't have bucket list shows or roles. Lots of actors are happy to do the work that just comes their way, and they can be totally at peace with doing whatever the heck is in front of them. I am not one of those actors. I got into this because I saw a show and thought to myself, I want to be there. I want to do that. So there's lots of stuff on that bucket list, and a lot of it I have achieved, and I'm very grateful, and I've had so many opportunities come my way. I've ticked a lot of those boxes. This one's just particularly hard to let go of. It's really sent me into a panic spiral, wondering if I can reconcile with the fact that I might never play this part. I can't think about looking back on my life 50 years from now and knowing that I never played the role of my dreams. Like, I don't want that to be my reality. I think the most heartbreaking thing of all is that this show is going to be full of my friends, and I want to be there and support them. But I also don't know if I have the emotional, psychological strength to sit in the audience and watch that and not be a part of it. I don't know, it's still fresh. I'm still trying to heal, and that's been really throwing a wrench into this year for me. The whole experience really threw me for a loop, and I haven't recovered yet, which sounds so weak, but it's true. The director of that company is one of my best friends, and I haven't spoken to him since that callback, which was in January. And above everything else, I miss my friend. I just want things to be back to normal again, and I don't know when that will happen, but it has a lot to do with me having to be the bigger person and just being able to let go. So I gotta work on that and being happy for everyone else. Easier said than done. Doesn't get much more basic than this, friends. I'm really glad the rest of this palette survived. And now for something completely different. We just started watching all of the Marvel movies. Yes, in chronological order, obviously. I kind of lost track of them a few years ago and just never caught back up, so we're just going from the beginning, which has been very, very fun. I forgot how good the Iron Man movies were. It really is a shame that Gwyneth Paltrow is such an idiot. Makes me really sad because I love, love, love her performance so much. But I just can't look at her anymore without wanting to punch her in the face. Fucking goop. Let me put on some lashes and I will be right back. God, I really hope this video isn't too depressing. I really needed to talk some of this shit out. I've been feeling so much pressure since turning 30, and I know I'm trying to fight it because I know that there are no set expectations, or at least there shouldn't be, based on how old you are. But I just have these sudden waves of panic. They come out of nowhere, and suddenly I'm just so afraid that I'm wasting my life, and you can't go back. There's no do-overs. I'm always talking myself down from that spiral. I'm tired of looking back every year and thinking, you really squandered that precious time away. I'm so afraid that I'm doing the exact same thing that I always do, which is just sit on my ass and not do any of the things that I set out to do. And I know that I'm making progress. I know that I'm doing things that are worthwhile. I know that I'm in some way helping people with the things that I create. I feel stuck and I feel stagnated, and I just need to constantly try and shift my perspective on what success is and what growth is and what progress is, because I have made progress. It just doesn't feel like progress. It's a mess up there. Let's put on some lipstick, for God's sake. I'm desperately trying not to reiterate myself in videos like these. I think that's like one of my biggest pet peeves, when people start going on tangents and just saying the same thing over and over again in a different way. If you're still here, if you're still watching, thank you so much for being here and for supporting me and for reminding me that I'm doing something good. I love every single comment. I read them when I'm feeling low. Progress is happening. It's slow. It's almost invisible, but I have to just keep trying and keep going. I'm not ready to give up yet. Just want to make that clear. It's been a rough few months. months, and I thought 2020 was going to be a lot easier. I'm doing my best to just keep my head above water. I'm very grateful that I can do that while maybe helping someone else who is also going through something. So here are the many ways you can help out my channel. Give this video a big thumbs up. You can comment down below what you thought of the video. There's a lot of talking points here. You can subscribe to my channel, follow me on other social media. I will leave those right there, and go click the Patreon link down below. I understand way better why YouTubers always are effusive with their appreciation of their audience, because I really do appreciate you so much. All right, folks, be kind, be generous, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.